is like a triangle, really, and every time you turn it, it's got a different word on it, right? Okay? You have a sign, it opens to another sign. You have the flags, and we're going to talk about words and like theme. We're going to talk about that in a second, because that's where you can really bring in the creativity with your materials, with your prompts, right? On how to really kind of, I like it when someone gets a little, you know, they have it's a flag, if you will, that connects to like the toes and the hands, and the girls in the back go, wow! Right? And it's the whatever. It's the tiger, it's the go, it's whatever it is, right? You have the flags, they shoot over and they move around, and it'll have certain things on it, right? You've got the sign. Maybe the sign doesn't have a word, maybe it's got an emoji on it, right? Maybe it's got, you know, if it's, I don't know. I've got ideas, we're gonna call it. We're gonna call it, not the poop emoji, not the poop emoji, not the eggplant. No peach. No peach. Okay? But you can get creative with this stuff now, right? And really, really think about it. And so I want to go to the words. I want to go to the words now, because this kind of ties in. Okay? We're used to the go blue, go white, all that kind of stuff. But I'm challenging you, especially when we're talking about the spelling or coming up with that catchphrase that everybody can learn. I want to challenge you to try and find that catchphrase, right? So if you are Bridgewater Raritan Panthers, that's a mouthful, right? But you can do pause up for Panthers. Pause up for Panthers, right? When you're coming out, right? P-A-N-T-H-E-R-S, Panthers. Go Panthers. P-A-N-T-H-E-R-S. And you don't have to tell everybody. People will just start calling it back. Right? Pep it up for the Panthers. P-E-P-I-T-U-P. Pep it up for the Panthers. And that.
I thought you were spelling pep it up.
Did I spell pep it up? I spelled pep it up. P-E-P-I-T-U-P.
Pep it up, Panthers.
It's a lot of P's. Maybe one would stay away from that. But you get my meaning. You get it, right? Give me another name. Where is it? What's the? Yeah, let's see what's the town. It's Anaheim Rams.
Disneyland.
Horns up for the Rams, right? You know, horns up for the Rams. Let's see, Anaheim, Rams. I'll come back to that one. I'm gonna get you one though. I'm gonna get you a good one. Happen. Valley Center Jaguars. I mean, the Jaguars, all the cats and stuff, that's easy, right? Paws up, right? Did you get jiggy with the Jaguars? You know what I mean? Like, you gotta try and find...
Rowdy with the Rams.
Rowdy with the Rams, there you go. Rowdy with the Rams. Do I have to say it like that? And then I can come in and fist. Like that? I'm just kidding. La Punta, what is the mascot? Warriors. Go to war for the Warriors. Go to war for the Warriors. Right? Yes, ma'am. Montclair Bulldogs. Hey, Jersey in the house. That's right. West Texas Falcons. Oh, I had a good one for you before. I was thinking about it because when we cheered you in, I was like, I gotta come up with something for that. It was, I don't know if it was Talons Up or Fly High for the Falcons.
I like
Fly High. I like alliteration. Alliteration is using that P, pep it up, fly high, right? Flying Falcons, Rowdy and Rams, right? Right? Bring it on, Bulldogs. You know what I mean? Like those types of things, right? Those are the things. Yes, ma'am. Santa Margarita, Cowboys. What is it, Cowboys? Santa Margarita Cowboys. We're gonna do something with a lasso, right?
Yeah.
I can't do that. You're on your own. I would shorten it down to the knots if you can, or the Argos, or something like that, right? You know what I mean? Like you want to take that down,
Try not to stand
right?
up.
And then you want to get into your colors.
Stand up.
Argonauts is just hard. It's like when there's a comedian, it's like, what are you doing with shirt and stuff? And you're like, I got nothing, right? I got nothing for that. Yes, ma'am. Aztecs. What's
Warriors.
The town name? Southgate Aztecs. I'd spell it. Yeah. right? And then your colors, right? I would spell it and your colors, right? Southgate, right? Be great for Southgate. You know what I mean? Something like that. Again, you want to try and get that rhyme in there, right? First rate Southgate. Those you know, like something like that. You want to try and get it there. Yes.
We actually don't have a mascot, so we run into that challenge. So
Okay.
We're Riptide.
Riptide. Oh.
Oh my gosh.
I coached the Blue Tide, so we were always roll with the tide, right? Roll with the tide is a good one. You know, you could do high tide. You know, it's high tide, rip tide. If you're a rip tide, high tide. Roll with the tide is good. So you gotta play with it. You know, TIDE, and then maybe rhyme the E. You know, or RIP to the, you know, RIP to the TID, to the, you know, like something like that. As earlier, I know she covered it. I'll talk with her later about stepping on my class, but we're gonna just chat about that a little bit. So the biggest changes, excuse me, are in two areas, right? Which is gonna be your tumbling, right? You are now allowed, for sideline performance, you are now allowed single handsprings in sideline performance, okay? That is your high point getter. We'll talk about scoring in a minute because it becomes very important when we talk about it, okay? So that is now an allowable skill, single handspring, right? Just one standing, woo, handspring, right? Again, those are faster skills, better than a walkover, easier to happen, easier even than a cartwheel in terms of what we're trying to do in sideline performance, which is engage the crowd, get them to respond to us, get them to cheer with us, and cheer for the team, right? Okay, so if you move over, if you've got your paperwork out or it's on your phone, if we go to the scoring grid for sideline performance, you're going to see a whole lot of red here, a whole lot of red, right? We basically redesigned the scoring for sideline performance when it comes to stunts and tumbling, all right? So it used to be similar to show cheer, that stunts and tumbling were ranges, right? And the same rules applied. You did the number that was on the cheat sheet, right, miss? Cheat sheet that you talked about earlier. Cheat sheet, right? That showed your magic number, that was your minimum, right? You did the minimum, you got the minimum score. Now, like jumps and tosses, if you do the skill in tumbling, you're automatically gonna get those points, okay? So handsprings is your biggest point getter. So in sideline performance for tumbling, right? If you do single back handsprings by a quarter of the team, 25% of the team, you're automatically getting a 5. Okay? But not to worry, if you don't have, and again, that's cumulative, right? You don't need to see 5 of them. You can have one poor, sweet little baby do 5 times, right? One do 5 times. We'd like to see it collectively, but if not, we're gonna count them each time we see them. But that's all you have to do, okay? I don't need 9, right? If 5 is your number, if you need 5 handsprings, I only need the 5. You don't have to overdo it, right? Same thing with stunts. Single prep level 2-leg stunts now are your highest range in sideline performance. So that also has to be done by the majority of the team using your cheat sheet, right? It gives you the number. I've got this many on my team. This is the number of stunts I need to see. If that number is 3, you do 3 preps in the routine. That's it, you're done. You've got the 10. Thank you very much, have a great day. Okay? What we are looking for, what we want to focus on is that callback, is that crowd leading. It are all of those things that give that game day exciting cheer experience. Okay? I think where a lot of times we miss a little bit is that here's a few things I notice. The sideline performance cheers are too complicated for your spectators, right? Go blue, blue, go white, white, go blue, white, let's go fight, go, and everyone's like, wait, we say go now? Is it blue, white, are we fighting, what are we doing, right? There's not a clear picture as to what you're trying to accomplish. So, you need to, in many ways, make it simpler for them to understand, but I'm urging you to think about more creative ways with your props, with your signs, with your flags, all those things to really really up these sideline performance routines, okay? The other thing I wanted to mention that we changed for sideline performance is spirited entrances are now required, okay? It's part of your minute and 45 seconds of your routine, okay? All right? So that starts just coming on like, sup, hey, what's going on, right? Hey, let's go Tigers, all right? You know, we're doing all this. We're getting in front of the crowd. I'm not going to kick because I'm going to have to go right to the hospital, but it's a kick, right? We can handspring as long as we don't have palms in our hands, right? We can tell me can't stunt in or out, okay? But it's those things. We already, as judges, we were like, oh, all right.
Woke me up.
Right, right. Yes, ma'am.
Does that count as part of your 1 minute?
It does.
Okay, all right.
The moment one athlete is touching that mat, your time has started.
As soon as they step on the floor, all right, let's go. Bang, you're on the clock. Okay? For 1:45. Yes. Yes. That's a great question, and that answer is yes. Okay?
Because your routine started, I'm counting everything.
Your
in the
routine
moment.
started, you started the time, right? Here's the thing, it's not running, right? So that would be get to your spot, maybe put your palms down, do a handspring. It could work, right? For me, honestly, I would like them to be more in with the routine, right? I think it's more impactful that way, right? So if you're doing S-I-D-E-L-I-N-E, sideline, sideline, right?
Bam, check mark, you got your points.
Right, we're moving it on. Now, you can do more handsprings because sometimes it is visual, and if you're doing some repetitive, I'm just saying you don't need it, right? Because not a lot of people listened last year when we said jumps are never the answer, right? Not a lot of people listened when we said you only need to do 2 jumps in level 2. You only need to do 2 plus 1. Somehow we took that all wrong.
We confused
We
everyone.
still saw 27 jumps, but we're not going to go there. We're not going to go there. And guess what? Sideline performance is only 1 jump. So help me God if I see 17 jumps coming out of these routines. It may be the first time I come off the riser in my whole history of judging.
You guys, you scored.
And I've been judging 192 years.
192 years.
I've never come off the riser. But you will make me do it. Okay? I only need 1 jump.
And the reason the scoring grid is like that is because these elements take away from leading the crowd. Okay? The more of these athletic skills that you're doing, we are seeing them jammed in that don't make sense to tell your cheer for that callback, okay? We're all trying to do as many skills as possible, but they're not even enhancing your cheer. And that's what these skills are for, just to enhance your cheer. That's why it's just a prep. Because I want to hear your voice. And if we're having kids do a full-on pyramid, their voices drop. We all know that. They don't continue saying the words.
Right.
So it's a simple prep, because in the prep, then they can call out if it's blue, white, gold, whatever it is. That's visually appealing. Those stunts are now adding to your cheer. They're not taken away from your cheer.
Right. I need you all to reframe your brain, right? When you talk about show cheer, creative ins and outs, right? All that kind of stuff. That creativity needs to happen in your callbacks, in your props, right? We're going to talk a lot about the props and the callbacks and all that type of stuff, okay? That's where you need to shift the focus. We are making it easy for you. 1 jump, bam, here's your 10. Have a great day, right? 4 handsprings, pop, boom, there's your 5. Okay, thank you very much. 3 preps, boof, you got a 10. Thank you for coming. Come back another day.
You should automatically know going into a competition, I'm getting these points on the score sheet.
Automatic. Automatic.
Question, I'm getting those, now let's focus on the other things.
Yes.
So with that, say my team does required amount, they're done, they have to do it again.
Yep.
But there's another team that does do it multiple times throughout the routine, the back handstring.
I can't give them an 11.
It's a flat score.
I can't give them a 12. I can't. What I can do is I can deduct from their execution, right? If you give me your first jump, pow, pow, and now you do another, it's like, right? So now I'm looking at that going, first I'm mad. You talked about this, I'm mad. I mean, I'm meeting you in the parking lot. We're gonna talk. Because I told you, y'all have witnesses. I told you, but the chances are, on a flat mat, for the most part, that you're gonna have a team that executes hyperextended, beautiful jumps with pointed toes and backs that don't slouch over too much, which will affect positively your execution score, I hate to say it, I love you all, I wish you all the best, that's highly unlikely. You want to get in and get out where these skills are concerned.
Don't give me enough time to analyze your technique.
Right.
The more times you do it, the more times I can sit there and nitpick you.
Same thing with the handsprings, right? You make it when you do one really nice and clean, legs are super tight, right? Arms are locked out. Now, you know, they're all the words, we're saying all the words, now they go to the other one, they're like, right? And then now I can't, like I said, I can't give them any more points, but I can take away. I don't want to, that's not really where I get my kicks, but that's what I have to do. Especially in that comparative scoring that we always talk about, right? Because if I'm giving you all these points for free, because you're doing the minimum requirement, I gotta dig down into those execution and that technique and see, okay, how am I going to separate one team from another? Excluding all the top stuff, which we're gonna talk about in a little bit, okay? This is not a category where we are talking about stunting. There's no pyramids, right? I do not want to see a connection. Do not do it. Okay? All right? NOCONNECTION. No connection.
Wow, you're a really good speaker.
Yeah. I won the spelling bee like Holy Rosary Academy like 3 years in a row, and I was in grammar school. I don't remember everything, but I'm pretty well at spelling. No, I'm just kidding. But those things don't get you any points. So just like any other routine, why would you put it in there?
Lisa,
Okay?
I'm sorry, because I'm like a Bible rules person.
Yes, Miss Jones.
So in here it says, and I'm just looking under jumps, and I may be a little premature.
Okay.
It says consecutive connected jumps, and then it says variety will be defined as 2 or more jumps. I don't know if that needs to be removed and then just have it as the one.
Is that in silent performance?
It is.
Oh, then that's a mistake. But what does it say in the scoring grid? What's the
You're right. It does
one
say
jump?
one, but in the
Yeah,
first part it says
that's
it's
incorrect. We'll fix it.
Okay.
We'll fix it. Yep. Okay. So it's still one jump, right? One jump, and everybody has to do the same jump. So you can't have some hurdlers this way, hurdlers this way, and a pike going to the front, and everyone's got to do the same jump. Okay? So we got to make sure that it's the same jump all the time. Thank you for pointing that out. Get it fixed. Okay?
Yes.
So jumps are majority, so it's 50 plus 1.
Your cheat sheet.
Right. Cheat sheet. CHEATSHEET. Cheat sheet.
How?
So basically this year, so once you hit your max on that stunt one time, you don't want to see it again.
I don't want to see it again.
Because last year I did like the max I could score out, did the stunts once,
Yeah.
and then they said we want to see more stunts.
Yeah, we don't want to see more
And
now.
then when
We don't want to see more now.
It
That's why
was a
we're going.
range last year.
Oh, okay.
It was a range.
It's a flat score this year.
Yeah, we changed it because we're like, I don't want you doing 194 walkovers to try and get a 4.8 or a 4.9. I don't want 83 quarter ups. Like that's not the point of it. Now you can do shoulder sits, right? Because you want to get the crowd, right? To get the shoulder sit, and we're going over here, right? We're going over there, and those things. But really, I just need to see preps.
And if your preps go up, and they'll probably camp there for a little bit. If your cheers go
Camp.
up, they're there, they come
Camp
down to
out.
the push, and they ripple back up to the prep again. I'm okay with that. It's when we're doing it excessively that doesn't tell your routine, and it's just like extra girls in the back just doing random.
Yeah, random stuff.
It's not adding to it, okay? But you're not going to get docked because your prep stood up there for your half of your cheer because it helped your cheer.
Right.
That's
Because
fine.
you want those levels, right? You want the prep, maybe you want the thigh stand, right? You want those
You're
things.
hitting the entire crowd wherever they're at in the stands.
Right. Shoulder sit's gonna probably be your best bet because it's easier to move them, right? You want that movement, right? Not only with those are on the ground with palms or signs or flags or whatever. The shoulder sit is nice because you can hold on and be like, woo, do, do, do. You know what I mean? You can kind of get that movement around. Don't do those sound effects. You want to actually say words. You get it. You get it. I mean, you could, but the judge would be like, oh, they must have went to Lisa's class. Yeah. Cha-cha. Yeah. All right? So it's always, regardless of, you know, in any of these classes, and I'm sure Katie's doing show cheer choreo, and we're talking about all these different things, you want to be smart about what you're putting in here. If you do not have a team that has good jumps, why would you put, you know why you put it in? Because you got nothing else to do, right? And so you're like, I know what to do, I'll throw some jumps in here. No. New?
I slipped.
Right? Whenever you say to yourself, what can I put in here?
It's not a jump.
Jumps are never the answer. They weren't the answer last year. They were not the answer in 2021. And in 2023, still not the answer.
Don't want to see it.
Right. Okay? Be smart. Be smart. I don't need to see more jumps. I don't need to see excessive tumbling. Now, tumbling in sideline performance definitely has its place because it can elicit that response, right? But again, if you're looking for something to fill, it doesn't, once you hit that number at 25%, we don't need to see any more. It's not the requirement. Like I said, I can't go higher than the 5. Can't give you a 6, a 7, or an 8. I can't do it. I can only give you when you meet that minimum. I can absolutely give you that 5, but then we want to see other things. And there's more points to get, right? More points to get. I need to get a quick drink, excuse me.
Yeah, you get that drink.
Yeah, I ruined my voice cheering everybody on as they walked in today.
Spelling everything.
So silly, and spelling, not spelling.
Also, like she said, once you're getting that flat score, just because we're saying your magic number's 5, you have to do 5 back handsprings, make those 5 back handsprings smart in your routine. It's not, yeah, it can only be one girl that has it and she's the one that's going to do it, but she's going to do it on a callback every single time. Or she's going to call it, she's not going to be over in the corner by herself just doing over.
Or behind the
I
prep.
thought I had sound effects.
Wow.
Yeah. Back over and over again. Make it make sense in your cheer, because the whole thing is you're leading the crowd. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get them to stay in the cheer with you, so you're doing these skills to draw attention and be like, oh, they're grabbing my attention, they want me to say something with them. I think that's like, I say this in my scoring class, if you put a cheer in your routine. Like we said, the whole point is to get the crowd to engage, to say it along with you. You're leading the crowd. Make it simple words and print it out and have a team meeting with your parents, and we're going to teach them the words and we're going to teach them the rhythm, please. Because so many times we hear, yell blue, blue. What? Like, teach them the rhythm so that when you go to a competition and they're at the callback part and their crowd is yelling, as a judge, I'm like, dude, they did their job.
Yeah.
They led the crowd.
RHYTHM. 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 Yeah. Don't have to do vacuum though. I was getting mixed up. Is it 2 C's and 1 U, 1 C, 2 U? Yeah, it's all right.
It's hard.
Okay.
So make sure, I don't know, as a judge, that you had a parent meeting and you print out all the words and you taught them.
I mean, I
did it, drill it in their head. I don't know that. As a judge, I know they did their job, they led the crowd, and they're saying the words back that they're asking them to say. Wow, that must be a good routine. Fake it till you make it, you guys. Teach your crowd to do it, because then if they're saying it, this is a mom, and I'm sitting there waiting for my daughter to perform, she's saying it next to me, and the
Hi, Susie. Hi, Susie.
I'm probably going to start
Susie.
saying it with her because I feel awkward. So when she yells blue, I'm going to yell blue with her, and it'll ripple on to the rest of the crowd.
Yeah, the crowd's like, oh yeah, we want to cheer with these people. Like, this sounds fun. We want to get in on this, right? For sure. Absolutely, for sure. All right, let's go down. I'm going to go down the list of the scoring categories so we can kind of go over each one, right? So first off is choreography. And, Missy touched on it about putting the right things in the right place. A lot of these categories are going to intertwine when I speak, but I'm going to try and go each one by each one, right? So choreography in this sense isn't all this intricacy, right? All this stuff. We're not talking about doing all that. Like, we're not talking about that, right?
Break your back.
I mean, I can, but, we're talking about putting that routine together that is cohesive in its message, right? And we're talking about using nice changes and transitions, right? Using your props to enhance the choreography, right? It doesn't need to be different again from show cheer. It doesn't need to be, 4,000 formation transitions, right? Okay, but there does need to be movement there. Right, so I'm starting here, I'm coming over here to the crowd, here I am over here.
And this doesn't need to be a set formation.
Right.
Like sometimes you're having these people in the front, like Elisa, who's in charge. She has the sign, she's leading the crowd. She can move. We see that so much that they just are stationary. hit the crowd. Don't be afraid to move.
Right? But you gotta give them a little bit of freestyle, a little bit of room to freestyle a little bit, not too much.
Not running from side to side.
Right, not running from side to side. You want to be able to give them some freedom to kind of, you're gonna need to choreograph some of it, right? Because we want to make sure that someone's always saying, let's go, or last time. You need somebody making sure they're doing that, because they're also kind of leading the crowd and the team. But you can have somebody, moving here and kind of doing that and all that type of stuff that doesn't have to be, even though it's a choreography category, so choreographed, right? So you want to make sure, again, everyone's like, I did this, I did that, how come I got in the minimal and the moderate and all that? Well, when you look at some of these routines, right, the pace is good, there's good visual effects, right? You got to find that sweet spot on your pace, okay? All right? Too fast, no one's going to be able to follow you. That's why I can't do silent
It's
performance.
like fire. You guys sound like you're
I'm a
singing
fast talking Italian, no one is going to understand me, right? But you have to find that sweet spot on your pace so that even your most practiced fan can stay with you and the non-practiced folks can join in, okay? We'll talk about the voice in a little bit, but that plays a very important part in all of this in helping you keep that pace, right? In those transitions, even if you're moving the formation around, what else are you doing with your body, with your sign, with your props, that's kind of making it seamless, right? So if we're and boom, now I'm over here, right? And now we're on this side, right? All those things, rather than just, again, can't stand the clean and walk. Over here, then clean and move.
Seamless transitions. Everything should
Everything,
flow.
right. You should never see it coming, right? So every time I'm doing something and we're here, we're yelling out and da-da. Right now I just moved a whole bunch of space, right? And I was doing something the whole entire time, which is also something you should be considering in show cheer, but we're going to stick to sideline performance as it pertains to the class that we're in now, right? So choreography plays a huge part here, and in order to get in that excellent range, pace needs to be good. Transitions need to be great, okay? Visual effects, right? Levels. Even if it's here, boom, down, right? And the palms are huge. Good visualization with palms and making visual ripples and things like that. Big. Again, remember, you are not getting down to the nitty-gritty of, if I do a quarter up, and then I do this, and then I quarter down, and then I spin, and then we quarter cradle. You're not getting into any of that. We're making that simple for you. The new part of your creative brain is, how am I making this a crowd pleaser, right? You want to be the crowd pleaser, okay? And that is where you're going to start to reframe and get into the creativity, unlock that creativity to really make this fun and want your non-hometown fans want to cheer with you and for you, okay?
I think like touching on that, the biggest thing I see, and I can call it a moment a team comes on and starts performing, oh, this is their like second free performance. Because they didn't put a lot of thought or energy. It's always an afterthought. If you're competing in this, we're competing in it. We are going to go off this score sheet and we're going to choreograph an awesome team that leads the crowd.
Right.
We're not going to bring something just to bring it.
And speaking of performance is the key, right? You need this team to be ready to be the biggest bunch of cornballs they ever want to see, right? Because they need to cheer and go and shake and move and yeah, let's go, right? They need to do all that. And if they're not ready to do that, welcome to the tennis team.
Sideline's not for you.
Right. Okay? Say hello to bowling, right? Okay? That is what it takes. That is what this takes. That energy, right? That I got picked for this class because I was here in score review and at Jams Youth Nationals, and a couple of sideline performance coaches came in and said, We didn't understand. And I started doing this. And Mario, I'll thank him when he gets here tomorrow, was like, you should teach a sideline performance class. And I was like, okay, fine. But you do need, this is annoying after a while, but for that minute and 45 seconds, you need this. Waka waka, right? You need them to like shed all that stuff, put on this face, and go. Right? You need it to come out of them. Right? Because you all are kind of sitting at attention right now, like, what the heck is she going to do next? Right? And I want to be that too. What the heck is this team going to do next? How is it going to excite me?
And I think that's hard for the youth. They're scared to be that wild and crazy person that's leading the crowd. And it's very rare to find a team that every single one wants to be a Lisa and everyone's a Lisa. That's not going to happen. But you can coach them to be that. We can watch videos, pull up YouTubes, and get inspiration that this isn't weird or crazy, because I used to coach. I used to get that, like, you're nuts. I'm not going to be that extra. Like, that's not happening.
Totally extra.
Show them. That's what is needed in this routine. That is what is needed in this division. It's not crazy. That's what we're asking for. Show them videos. Show them college routines, collegiate routines, and how they do it. That's going to inspire them to be like, that's what I want to do. I want to lead a crowd like that. And that's not weird. That's what is being asked of me. So make sure to inspire them, because it is a lot to ask for them. If they've never seen it, a true, real sideline performance, it's crazy. If you guys have never met Lisa, you're like, wow, she's a little crazy. That's the same thing. Yeah.
But it's true, right? Because if they're gonna hesitate, right? They're gonna look, I don't want to say foolish, but if they don't buy in, if they don't go all in on it,
I'm not buying.
We're not buying it, right? When you look at those teams, when you talk about the videos, when you look at some of those game day sideline performance routines, those kids are all in.
Yep.
They want you cheering for those Tigers, right? And you're like, oh, Tigers, yes, hey, I'm a Tiger now. We're all Tigers here, right? So they have to buy in. You have to get them to buy in. It's 1 minute and 45 seconds where they just flip that switch and they're going all out. Because guess what? The alternative, not even just for the judges, but even in the crowd, if they're not buying in and they're not going at it 175 miles an hour,
the chit-chat starts.
What's that?
The chit-chat starts.
Right.
And there's no music.
Right.
So then as a judge, I can't even hear you because now the crowd is talking.
Everybody's talking, no one pays attention, we're all on our phones. Right?
Like, what is happening?
Is it only a minute and 45? Thank God it's only a minute and 45. When is this going to be done? I don't want to hear about blue or white anymore. I hate the color blue and white now.
It's like they have to be Wednesday Adams' friend. I forget her name. Megan. They have to be Megan when they perform. They can be Wednesday when they get off the stage, but they need to switch that on and be that vibrant, colorful, excited, energy-filled girl, boy.
And that might come more if you invite your parents to a practice here or there, right?
Yep.
If you're doing this at a game, right, and you really work with them, they gotta shed all that. I get it. Some of them are preteens, some of them are teens. God bless you all. Namaste. Right? But I know it's in there in all of them, right? And again, if not, tennis, bowling, field hockey, lacrosse, right? Because that you don't really need to smile or show any emotion. This is cheerleading. This is really where it all started. We're at a sport, we're cheering for our team, we're supporting that team, and we're trying to get the crowd to yell with us. That's the basics. That's what this is. And now we're trying to just kick it up a notch and jazz it up. So they have to really come out and want to do it. Okay? And that's probably the biggest challenge. Again.
I was just going to say, the best part about Sideline